Are Canadians more heavily taxed than other nations? When it comes to taxes, Canada has a reputation. And it's not a light one. Many Canadians feel overtaxed. They say they pay more and get less. But how much of that is perception? And how much is backed by real data? This video takes a deep, data-driven dive into Canada's tax system. Not just how much Canadians pay, but how that compares to other countries around the world. We'll explore income tax, sales tax, payroll deductions, and the hidden taxes most people overlook. Then, we'll ask, what do Canadians really get in return? First up, we'll look at income tax. Canada uses a progressive system. The more you earn, the more you pay. Federal income tax ranges from 15% to 33%. When combined with provincial rates, top earners can pay over 50%. Compare that to the United States. Their federal rate tops out at 37%. And states like Texas or Florida charge no income tax at all. How about sales tax? Canada's federal GST is 5%. But most provinces add more, creating the HST. That total can reach 13 or even 15%. By contrast, many US states charge less than 8%. Some charge none at all. Payroll deductions. Every Canadian paycheck includes deductions for the Canada Pension Plan, CPP, and employment insurance, EI. As of 2024, CPP deduction is set at 5.95% of income until payments are capped. EI will cost you 1.66%, again, until the maximum contributions are made. Together, that's nearly 12%, or about $4,000 a year for a median income worker. As for environmental taxes, as of April 2025, Canada removed its federal consumer carbon tax. You no longer pay it at the pump. But industrial carbon pricing remains, for large emitters. Fuel excise taxes and GST on gas are still active. As for other taxes Canadians also face: property taxes, luxury taxes, sin taxes on alcohol and tobacco, digital service taxes on platforms like Netflix, and capital gains, where 50% of any gain is taxed. There are, however, provincial differences. Where you live in Canada changes what you pay. Quebec has the highest income tax, up to 25.75%. Alberta has a flat 10% and no provincial sales tax. Municipal property tax rates also vary. Two people earning the same income could face very different tax bills depending on the province. Global tax comparison. Let's look at the tax-to-GDP ratio, the share of the economy collected as taxes. Canada sits at 34.8%. The US is lower, at 27%. As for Germany, 38.5%. And in France, 45.4%. On the high side, Denmark, nearly 47%. So we see Canada isn't the highest taxed nation. But it's certainly above average. Income tax comparisons. For single individuals, Canada averages out at 31.6%. United States skates by with 29.1%. Germany hands over 51.8%. France pays out 50.1%. And Italy 45.4%. For married couples with 2 children, Canadian families average 21.5%. United States families only 11.9%. Germany will pay 35.7%. A family in France, 41.7%. And finally an Italian family, 35.2%. Payroll taxes compared. In Canada, extra deductions total 11.9%. In the US, 15.3% extra on average. And in Germany, France, and Italy, around 40 to 45%. Europeans pay more, but receive more in return. How about a sales tax or VAT comparison? Canada's combined GST and HST can reach up to 15%. The US stays under 8% and has no federal VAT. Germany's VAT, 19%. In France, consumers pay 20%. And finally, Italy adds 22%. So what do higher tax countries gain? Let's compare what Canadians get to what higher taxed countries gain, and what lower taxed countries give up. Canada, for your 34.8% of GDP, you get universal healthcare, public education, up to secondary school, CPP, and EI. What's missing? No national pharmacare, no universal childcare, and no tuition-free university. For Germany's extra 3.7% of GDP, totaling 38.5%. They receive tuition-free universities, subsidized rent, public healthcare and dental, plus long-term care insurance. France pays an additional 10.6%, rising to 45.4% of GDP and in return gain universal childcare, national health care, generous maternity and paternity leave, as well as cultural and education subsidies. For Denmark's 12.1% increase to 46.9%, they receive free university plus stipends, a full year of paid parental leave, elder care, and zero out-of-pocket healthcare. In return for the United States paying 7.8% less of their GDP, 27.0%, they save on lower income and payroll taxes, gaining a little more take-home pay. However, they have to give up universal healthcare, paid leave, free higher education, and affordable healthcare access. So, in conclusion, what does the data say? It says that Canada is the middle ground. You pay more than Americans, but with more public social support. You pay less than Europeans, but take on more personal financial risk. So the question isn't just, how much do we pay? But, what kind of society are we building with our taxes? Because taxes aren't just numbers. They're values. And they shape the kind of country we live in.